Hey guys, Josh here. I just played 3 of the worst reviewed farming simulation games on Steam, and I have to tell you how it went. I did a similar thing last month. I promised you a part 2 if that video got over 3000 likes. You seem to really be enjoying watching me suffer, so we reached our goal. I went back to the Steam store, found some more bad farming games, played them as much as I could endure. Also, you can save your money and your mental well-being. If we can get this video to 3000 likes again, there will be a part 3. But now let's get started because there is a lot to cover. Our first game today is one that I have played a little bit of in the past. I forgot about its existence, but some of you mentioned it in my previous video, so I thought I would give it a fair second chance. That game is Brookhaven Grimoire, formerly known as Brookhaven, but when you search for Brookhaven, the only thing that comes up is Roblox. So they added Grimoire to the name. I'm glad they were able to fix that. But it just goes to show the importance of having a unique name. Brookhaven Grimoire released in February 2022. It's 1949 Canadian dollars. The developer did send me a free review key back when it launched, so thank you and sorry in advance. The game has mixed reviews, so while it doesn't necessarily mean it's the absolute worst, 47% of them are negative, so there's gotta be a few things we can learn from. So now let's jump into this dark, magical farming sim filled with spells, swords, the power of friendship, the power of transforming into a bat, and so much more. I start a new game. The Stardew Valley character creator looks slightly different than what I remember, but here I am ready to get bullied. That's how it begins. A bully takes my money, I bite them, I run into the library, and then this guy tries to comfort me by reading me a story. That is a wild sequence of events already, but things get worse as I'm transported into the book, and this mayor, who is blind, violently strikes me with her cane, twice, so she's doing it on purpose, and she grips her cane like a baseball bat, ready to hit again. Welcome to Brookhaven. This is probably not the best book to read to a victim of bullying, but let's keep going. As the mayor, her job is to help me, so she gives me this house for free as always, and she asks me to meet her and the other villagers in the cave when I'm ready. I'm almost ready, but first I take a little walk around my farm to process what's happening to me. I don't know what it is with the walking animation, but I find it funny. The tiny steps when I'm walking left to right, the hip movement when walking up and down, and it's going to be a recurring theme with today's games, but the slowness of everything is killing me. There is a tutorial in the top right corner of the screen, and one of the very first things it teaches me about is lagging. It says create texture to the error, go into settings, dark overlay equals off. I'm kind of curious about that create texture to the error, so I go into the settings. By default, dark overlay is already at off, so I turn it on, but I don't see any difference. I guess that kind of setting is useful for players who are having performance issues, so I do appreciate it. But if that's one of the first things you include in your tutorial, it's not looking good for the rest of the game. I can press Q and E on my keyboard to change pages in that little tutorial pop-up. It tells me about things I have no idea about yet, such as machines, pest control, magic items, and then I press E one too many times and poof, the tutorial is gone and there's no way to bring it back. I spend a few minutes cutting trees, grass, I break a few rocks on my farm, and like most games I cover in these videos, the animations are very rudimentary. There are 2 frames for each animation. Also, my character is moving one of his feet forward, which makes it look like he's dancing. And then I click with my cursor to pick up the items on the ground. There's not too much feedback. It feels a bit off, but it works. Okay, now I'm ready to see what's happening in the cave. Never mind, I was not ready. We've seen it recently with Orange Season, to an extent Wild Season as well. Feel free to watch my video on these games. But a lot of these indie farming games have you join some sort of cult or village where people are doing weird stuff, and Brookhaven is going all in with that. Everybody's wearing a black cloak and they're getting ready to sacrifice this little lamb called Philip. Don't worry, they make it sound like it's completely normal and just what they do whenever someone new arrives in town in order to decide their role in the story. There is an option to skip the cutscene of the actual sacrifice in case you don't want to watch. I think it's always good to give players the choice, but at this point, it's also probably too late if you wanted to avoid that kind of topic. I have a bit of morbid curiosity in me. I want to see the cutscene because they make it seem like it's going to be really bad. And it ends up being the most tame sacrifice cutscene I've ever seen. The sword gently hits the lamb, there's no blood. Philip collapses, then disappears abruptly. After 2 seconds, it's all over, rest in peace. But then a demon appears and tells me I will be the hero of the story. He gives me some magical abilities, and he goes back home to his wife for dinner. So I now have these little things above my toolbar. Remember that the tutorial is gone, so it takes me a while to figure out, but I can rotate spells with right click and use them by clicking on the mouse wheel. I have two spells, one blue flame and one orange flame. What's the difference? So one is blue and the other one is orange. I want to check out the town, but as I try going out of my farm, my character says I should settle in for the night or visit the cave if I haven't already. Obviously, I've already been to the cave. I don't know how he forgot the whole ritual already, but I go to bed. I walk into the house, walk into my bed, and choose this save and go to bed option, where go and bed start with a capital letter for some reason. In true indie farming sim fashion, I receive a letter in my mailbox asking me to introduce myself to everyone. I quickly meet this emo guy called Roman, and then the mean girl, Emma. I then go to the ranch in the area just south of my farm, I check what's available, and I buy some speed grow fertilizer by accident. I was hoping for an item description or a confirmation, but you click on something, you buy it. Can you imagine a store like that in real life where you want to read the box, but as soon as you touch it, your card gets charged? Going back to the speed grow I just bought, I noticed that it is spelled just like in Stardew Valley with no W in grow. What a coincidence, great minds think alike, as they say. Also, whenever I try talking to the clerk to chat with her because my quest is to meet everyone, I can only see the store options, so I can't properly introduce myself. I then head into the forest, and I thought the time fast forwarded or something, but no, it's still 10:30 AM. I know forests can be dark, I grew up in the countryside, I know what a forest looks like, but this forest has no right to be this dark with so few trees, a huge pond, and all of these open spaces. The spooky forest vibe is not working here. I kill a few animals with my fireballs, my inventory is full because tools take most of the space, so I make my way back home. I see this girl with an umbrella, and without her, I wouldn't even know that it was raining. If you look very closely, it is in fact raining right now. I go home to put my speed grow and a few other things in my chest, and it takes me some time to figure out, but to pick something up in your inventory, you need to right click, but to put it down, you need to left click. So instead of just like left click, drag and drop, left click, easy, it's right click, and then try to drag, but the item is not at all following your cursor properly, and then left click. Also, I am nitpicking, but the numbers in the chest are written in white, while the ones in the backpack are in black. Why is that? It's a small thing, but that lack of attention to detail is everywhere in this game. I return to the forest to pick up the items I left behind, and I realize that I can press shift to run. I only have to press it once, which is amazing, but that right here is my running speed. With these tiny steps, no wonder he's not very fast, and I know I can transform into a bat later, which will probably be faster, but this is still way too slow. In order to prevent more inventory problems, I go to the general store for a bag upgrade, and it's one of those special things you can purchase not in the shop menu, but by interacting with the actual bag on the counter. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, but along with the layout of the store and the way it's connected to the house of the owner, I wonder why, but it makes me want to play Stardew Valley. I know that some people like to compare all farming games to Stardew Valley. I don't like doing that. I've been playing farming games my whole life, and I can appreciate each game for what it is, and of course, there will be similarities within one genre. But the amount of tiny details that are the same as in Stardew is a bit distracting. One thing I wish they had taken a bit more from Stardew Valley is the farming. The mechanics are the same as usual, but it just doesn't feel right. I also sold my watering can at the store by accident. It's just like when buying, if you click on something in your bag, you sell it, and it doesn't even tell you how much money you're gonna get. But it's okay, it's still raining, and I will get my watering can back later, don't worry about it. For now, I still have some characters to meet, I slowly make my way into town, and not only am I slow, but the collision boxes and the way that the objects are layered in the world make it so I always get stuck trying to get anywhere. These huge pillars, for example, in most games you would be able to walk behind them, but not here. There's also this hopscotch, literally just drawings on the ground, that you cannot walk over, so getting places is frustrating. After a while, I make it to the beach where I meet Vinny, this shark who's standing on a bridge and blocking access to the other half of the area. In order to pass, I would need to give him maple syrup, which I guess is more creative than wood. And I know blocked or broken bridges are not exclusive to Stardew Valley in any way, but the fact that it's a bridge on the beach, on the same side of the beach, it makes it feel like Brookhaven doesn't have much of its own identity. And when there is something unique, it's shallow, like this village that is filled with centaurs and other creatures, but where I cannot interact with anyone or enter any of the buildings. Alright, now let's try fishing. There is this square filled with black lines, and they're changing colors to white. Near the center, they turn to yellow. It's a bit trippy for no reason, but you have to click when they're yellow. It's not explained anywhere, it's not particularly fun, but I managed to catch a clownfish, a sea cucumber, and a mackerel that I can all sell for a bit of money. The following day, I unlock the mines where I can break rocks to collect ores, and going from one floor to the next is as easy as walking through the door that's on each floor. There are skills in this game. You may be familiar with this skills menu right here. So I level up my mining and learn how to make cherry bombs. Cherry bombs can be crafted with 1 coal and 4 copper ores. Oh, no, sorry, that's in Stardew Valley. It's 1 coal and 5 copper ores. Big difference. After a few minutes, I make it to the boss on the 5th floor, I beat him with my fireballs, I get a sword, and I go back to the surface. I still have not met everybody, but I find the blacksmith and I'm able to buy a free watering can from him. After scrolling up, because when you open the shop menu, it starts at the very bottom of the list, with just one item showing. That took me a while to figure out, but I eventually got my watering can. I am glad there's a way to get your tools back if you sell them by accident, but it is a band-aid solution to a problem that could have been avoided by simply not letting you sell your tools in the first place. I'm about to give up on this game, but something exciting might be coming up. It's time for my rite of passage as the hero of the story. I am told that there's a caravan in the forest every Friday and Saturday, and it's much more than just a simple shop as it has the power to bring me to the Unwritten Lands. To do so, I need travel rations. Travel rations are crafted by using any cooked meal. To cook, I need a campfire, so I make one, and an easy recipe is cooked fish. I fish for a while on my farm, and interestingly, the only fish I catch is called fish, and it is described as being a normal fish. Was there something abnormal about my clownfish and mackerel from earlier? I fished some more to confirm this, and it seems like all of the ocean fish in Brookhaven have unique names, but the river fish is just a normal fish. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much. I make 5 rations, and here I am in the Unwritten Lands. It's very similar to the forest, but in black and white. I can't find any new resources or anything interesting. There is a statue with a riddle about falling from the sky but never dying. I spent way too much time trying to figure it out, but I can't find a single special thing to do in this area. And with my experience so far, it's hard to tell whether or not it's my fault or the game's fault. I suppose I didn't succeed my rite of passage, I'm not too sure, but the next day, I get asked to adopt a puppy. I do that, here's my new friend Choco, and as soon as I leave the ranch, my screen is filled with not only the tutorial from the beginning, but also a brand new help menu with different categories like fighting, fishing, farming. There's even a table with all of the crops and how many days they take to grow, and I have no idea where all of this is coming from. It goes away as abruptly as it came, so if you need tutorials in this game, you just gotta read them whenever they decide to appear. And so with that, I think it's time to close this cursed book that is Brookhaven Grimoire, never for it to be opened again. I didn't get to become a proper hero, to transform into a bat or all of these other fun things that were shown in the trailer, but maybe we will be luckier with this next game. One great book we're all familiar with that also has a dark, spooky theme is Dracula, so why not stay in that same vein with Brocula? Can you tell I was originally planning this video for Halloween? I was a bit scared to do it, I've been procrastinating, but there's 2 games left to go, we got this. And every like on this video is 1 person saved from a vampire draining $25.99 Canadian dollars from their wallet. Brocula's reviews are mixed, 54% negative, and spoiler, but the majority here is right. I launched the game for the very first time, and on the menu is a continue option, so out of curiosity, I click on that instead of new game. I wake up from a hospital bed, I don't know if it's the beginning of the game, I tried to go back to the title screen, the menu is really hard to navigate because you can't use the mouse. Everything's done with the keyboard, it says E to go to title screen, I press E, nothing happens. Later, I will find out you have to hold E for a few seconds, but for now, I press Alt F4 to force quit the game. I start over, and this time I choose a new game, and I see this intro. A car crashes into my castle, wakes me up from my 500-year slumber. I gotta pay my hospital bills, I'm about to get evicted from my castle that's falling apart, and my name is Brocula, so like bro and Dracula, but also broke because I'm broke. So there's lots of layers to it, and I guess my parents didn't have a very bright future in mind when they decided to name me. So I'm now in my hospital bed, just like earlier. I have to talk to the doctor, but before I do, I decide to have a quick look at my inventory. It is empty, but on this page it says some item name, quantity available 99, stamina and health +5, space required 200. It's probably some sort of placeholder for when you have no item in your inventory. but it would have probably been better to just write nothing. Okay, I need to stop getting distracted. I talked to the doctor. He says that my name is weird, not very professional, and that I can't forget my bill if I don't tell anyone that his daughter crashed into my castle. But also that I still need money to survive in this city, and that I should go talk to the mayor if I want to make some. Before I leave, he teaches me about my red health bar and my blue stamina bar, which is going to deplete if I run. We're off to a really bad start. I don't mind having to manage my stamina, but if you want to ruin your game in 3 simple steps, Step 1, make running consume stamina. Step 2, make the regular walking speed extremely slow that no one would ever want to go anywhere at that speed. Step 3, make it so you have to hold down the shift key the whole time you're running, which is the whole time you're playing the game. So now my task is talk to the mayor, part 1. I run to the mayor, and when interacting with him, there's a bubble to chat and another bubble to shop. I go over the shop option, the controls are not working well, and there's no way to bring my selection back to the chat option. So let's see what I can buy. There is a work permit available for $0. I press the right button. It doesn't work, but that's because, once again, I've not fully realized that most interactions in this game require you to hold down the buttons, and it doesn't clearly tell you that anywhere. So I close the shop without getting my work permit. I struggle to interact with the mayor again, but I eventually chat with him, and he tells me that I need to buy back my land from the government. He is nice about it though and says that he will arrange for me to get some part-time jobs. I leave the town hall, and there I see this one-winged bat. The actual character sprite has 2 wings, and you could argue that the portrait maybe has 2 wings that are just overlapping perfectly, but based on the angle, how the face is, how it looks, it's hard to believe, and I'm just confused with this drawing. So this is my one-winged bat companion. I don't know his name, but he shows me the way to my castle. You may have noticed, but it's daytime, it's bright and sunny outside, and I'm perfectly fine. Isn't one of the main things about vampires the fact that they can't tolerate sunlight? Maybe there are different versions of vampires, I'm not an expert. But if you're gonna make a game all about being a vampire, you should use that theme to its full potential. That is the least of our concerns, however, with Brocula. Let's have a look at the resource gathering and crafting, as I need to repair these pillars in my castle. The bat gives me an axe that he stole from the hardware store, and I use it to chop a few trees. Trees drop logs that I cannot carry in my inventory, but I can summon this bat, which looks just like the other bat. I don't know if they're the same or not. It lifts the logs for me, and I can then walk with the bat to this area to drop them. I then use a crafting table to make a sawhorse, and using that sawhorse, I can transform the big logs into flitches, what I need to repair the pillars. I interact with the sawhorse, select the correct crafting recipe to add them to the queue, then I close the crafting menu, and I hold down shift to craft the items one by one. I then go inside my house and interact with one of the pillars to repair it. All of the menus and everything feels a bit clunky, but for what I need to do now, it's okay. There are many other pillars to fix though, so I go out to chop more wood, and my axe breaks. It happened so quickly, and I had no idea it could even break in the first place. The developer really went out of their way to make this game as frustrating as possible. I'm told that I should go to the hardware store, but I can't deal with that right now, so I go talk to the mayor, part 2. He tells me his friend can hire me at his garage, but that I first need a work permit. No problem, he's giving me one for free right now. I remember the free work permit from his shop earlier, and most likely it's just there for the same reason the tools were being sold for free by the blacksmith in Brookhaven, in case I sell it by accident. Why does this work permit item even exist in the first place? All of this seems superfluous, but now I can work legally. But before that, we need to talk about the cat. There is a cat meowing non-stop in front of the town hall, and it doesn't sound like a cat. Whenever I hear it, the image I'm getting is the game developer at his desk trying to make cat sounds into his microphone. Maybe it is something else, but it's certainly not a real cat. I make my way to the garage, but the lights are out and there's no one, so I can't work. It's nighttime. Maybe as a vampire I could have gotten a night shift. They could have me work at a gas station, a bar, a club, a bowling venue, you know, like in the Sims 2 Nightlife expansion pack, which added vampires to the game. There are so many things you could make a vampire do, so many games to take inspiration from, but here I am having to work at a garage that only operates in the daytime. And the worst part in all of this is that I can actually enter all of the buildings at any time. Here's the hardware store, there's no alarm, nothing. Why can't I steal tools like the bat did earlier to get my axe? Nothing makes sense, and it just feels like the developer did not want to bother coding something to make it so you can't enter a building after a certain time. What if you enter a building during the day and then night comes before you leave? Then you would need either the store owner to kick you out or maybe have the time stop while you're inside. These were too many questions for the developers to figure out for $26. Okay, Josh, you're getting tired. Let's go to bed. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day. I'm trying to convince myself, but I know all too well that it's really not gonna be a better day. As soon as the sun comes up, I go to the garage and I wait for the employee to come in. It should be the other way around, but it is what it is. In the meantime, I look at my relationships menu and I notice that none of the characters have names. It's doctor, mayor, farmer, librarian, witch, and butcher. Each morning, I also get a little notification with their face. I don't know what it means. I don't think I'm getting messages or anything from them. It's just another one of these mysteries that Brocula has to offer. Anyway, the garage guy, not even worth putting on the relationships menu, but he's here. I'm ready to work. You would think he would show me around, but no. He just disappears and the tutorial is given to me by my bat companion. What does a bat know about working in a garage he does not even own? I don't know, and I stopped trying to make sense out of that game. His brothers, they all look just like him, will pretend to be customers so I can learn. The first one arrives and he wants this white thing. I talk to my bat teacher and he tells me this. You should be able to pick the item from there without any issues. Bring the item here. I am too small to carry these items, so you might have to carry it here. Understood, got it. I should be able to carry the items myself because the bat is too small to carry them. So I go where the item is, I interact with it, it comes out of the shelf and I can't carry it, but I can push it around. So I push it around for a bit and then I press E and the bat is now carrying the item. It was carrying the huge wooden logs earlier, so I'm not surprised that it can carry this as well. But the tutorial is straight up contradicting itself. So I have to practice this with 4 different pretend customers. It's dragging for way too long, but I make it out with $43 and a 4.5 star rating. Alright, what should I do next? Talk to Mayor Part 3. Since I love working so much and I'm so good at it, I can now work at the coffee shop and at the restaurant. Looking forward to it, let's start with the coffee shop, kick out the current employee and all of the customers. Time for another exciting tutorial. The bat calls all of his brothers, they come by one, and I have to make drinks for them. The first order is a black coffee. I interact with the pile of coffee beans. There is an infinite amount, and knowing how the game is working so far, I know that I can grab as much as I want and they will all remain in my inventory even after my shift. Then I interact with the grinder, select coffee, put it into the queue, hold shift to grind the beans, same crafting system as with the sawhorse on my farm. The coffee is not ready quite yet though. I check in with the bat and after every step he says, yes, that is what I am talking about. I did not address the dialogue, there's just too much to say about this game, but I never heard anyone say that phrase without contractions and it sounds very unnatural. Next, I need to interact with the shelves, grab the proper cup, interact with the sink, and I now have a cup and coffee so I can craft a black coffee. It probably doesn't seem too bad if you're watching this, but if you have played it, you lived through it, you will know how clunky, tedious, and annoying everything is. The crafting was okay for transforming the wood earlier, but when every single step of making coffee makes you go through the whole process, it's too much. I really want to quit the game at this point, but I gotta keep going. Next, I have to make an espresso and then a latte, all pretty much the same, but you have to use different machines and the right cups. For the latte, you need to take milk out of the fridge. I would rather go work at a real coffee shop than this virtual one, and I don't think that's how video games are supposed to make you feel. I make $42, a 4.5 star rating, the employees and all of the customers suddenly reappear. In my bag, I have 24 coffee beans, 7 cups, and 9 cartons of milk. I don't think there's a way to sell stuff, but this is an infinite stamina hack. I can just eat the coffee beans or drink milk to replenish my stamina for free. I don't know if the developer is aware of this or not. It seems like something that would be so obvious after any amount of playtesting, but maybe they forgot about that part of game development. Funnily enough, right after the bat tells me about how I'm losing stamina and I am running really depleted quickly, it's annoying, but the bat doesn't know my little hack yet, so he's gonna show me the normal way. He guides me to the grocery store and asks me to buy eggs. I do it, we go to the castle, cooking is the same crafting mechanic as everything else, and I make a fried egg that I can eat to restore stamina. I feel like the whole game is broken now. I can get infinite items, so stamina doesn't matter. Money barely matters, the grocery store doesn't matter, cooking doesn't matter, and whatever is left that matters is not fun. Maybe working at the restaurant will change my mind. As always, I get rid of whoever is in there, and I have my little bat and his brothers teach me. The first one wants fish sticks, so I grab anchovies from the fridge, use the chopping table, grab oil from the shelves, use the stove. I make the fish sticks. Yes, that is what I am talking about. The next one, he asks for a burger, and when I see the recipe, I just want to cry and quit my job right there and then. I need to make dough from scratch twice. 1 cheese, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 pieces of bacon, and 2 cabbages. Technically, that's a chicken sandwich, but if you're making a game with cooking, you don't need to make the recipes so detailed. 1 flour, 1 meat, and 1 tomato would have been more than enough. So I get started, and it's partly my fault for grabbing so many coffee beans, but I don't have enough space in my inventory for all of the burger ingredients. I drop a few things on the ground to grab what I need, then I try to make the dough, but that requires the same chopping table that I used for the fish, which is not very sanitary. But even worse is that there is a queue system, and I'm not too sure what happened, but I think I put like 11 anchovies on the chopping table earlier. It's just a very clunky and confusing system, and now I have to craft all of them one by one by holding shift and just waiting. There is no way to cancel or change any things that are already in the queue. At least I will have a ton of free fish fillet to eat whenever I want. And then I managed to make the dough, which requires not only flour but also water that I need to get from the sink. Once again, my bag is full. It's a huge mess. After a little while, I successfully gather all of the ingredients and I make my burger or chicken sandwich. I serve it, and luckily there's no other customer. This whole cooking thing is one of the worst gaming experiences I ever had. It's the coffee shop, but 10 times worse. By the way, the game always shows you these huge arrows telling you what to interact with for your quest, but even after being done with the cooking, with the burger and everything, there is still this arrow above the stove, so most of the times these big arrows don't really point to where you need to go and they're just very distracting. After all of this, I get my well-deserved paycheck, I go to the hardware store to get an axe and a pickaxe, and return to my farm. I repair all of the pillars, breaking my axe doing so, but my castle receives a little visual upgrade. If you're curious about the pickaxe, it lets me break rocks and then I get these slabs that I don't know what to do with. I can't put them in the same spot as the wood, I have no idea where they're supposed to go, but it's okay because I know I won't play this game long enough to need them. I just want to try farming and fishing, but I need to make some more money. I go to the garage since that was the less frustrating job. There's a 5-minute timer, and 5 minutes might not sound like a lot, but with a minigame as shallow and uninteresting as this one, it feels like an hour. There is such a long wait between each customer, and I'm so glad I did not return to the cafe or restaurant, which are 10 and 15 minutes long, and I hate just thinking about it. The next day, I buy a farming permit, and I get this quest to talk to the farmer part 1. Whenever I want the game to show me the giant yellow arrows, like when I'm searching for the farmer, they're nowhere to be seen. Well, except for this arrow pointing to a building that I can't enter. It's okay though, I have a map, I find the farmer's market, I go there, I see an office worker twerking, but there's still no farmer in sight. Then I stumble upon a bus stop and I can go to Grace Farm for $15. Let's go, I try to get hit by the bus, it does not work as intended, but here I am now in the farm area. I find the farmer, I try to talk to the farmer part 1, but it only lets me buy seeds from him, it doesn't let me do the talk to the farmer part 1 thing. I buy a few carrot seeds, I take the bus back to town, and interestingly, it costs $11. So first, why is it not the same price as on the way in? But also, I'm sure you can see the problem already, what if I didn't have enough money to go back? There's no way to walk from here, we will find a bit later, but for now, I have enough money, so I go to my farm. I place soil by using a crafting table instead of using a hoe to till the soil, which I will admit is convenient. What is not convenient is how you plant the seeds. You may have noticed how this game uses a lot of menus, most features reuses the same crafting menus, and it's no different for farming. You have to interact with each individual square of soil and select the seed you want to plant from a menu. I have no idea how any game developer could think this was a good idea. A lot of shortcuts were taken during the development of Brocula, and it really shows. So farming is not fun, and I can't bother taking care of these carrots. The last thing I need to do is fishing. The fishing pole is $55, I have $29 right now, so I return suffering at the garage. I serve customers for about a minute and a half just to have enough money, and for the rest of my shift, I go make myself a cup of coffee, otherwise I won't be able to make it through to the next game. I now have a fishing pole, I press E to start fishing, there is a bar going up and down, I have to press E when it's in the green, and then the bar goes sideways and I have to do the same thing. I catch a fish, I open my inventory to look at it, and it gives me the same amount of stamina as the anchovies that are already in my bag from when I worked at the restaurant. So fishing is pointless, and when I close my inventory, look at this, I'm walking and fishing at the same time. The prompt for fishing never goes away, so whenever I press E, whether that's to talk with an NPC or interact with something like the bus stop, Brocula starts fishing. I only have $11 left. I want to see what happens when you don't have enough money for a return ticket. So I go to the mines for $6. I'm very good at multitasking by now, fishing and mining at the same time, but I get bored of it pretty quickly. I can also chop trees around here, but there's nowhere to put the logs. By the way, whether you're at the farm or at the mines, going to town is always $11, so this time it's more expensive than on the way in. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money left, so I wait and I wait and I wait. I run around to deplete my stamina faster. Fishing also consumes stamina, but I can keep fishing even with zero stamina. Eventually, my health starts going down, but it's very slow, just like when I was waiting for the bat to kill me in Lamu, if you've seen that other video. I go get some banana bread to eat with my coffee. I made a really good banana bread this morning, so I have a little snack while I'm eagerly waiting for Bro to perish. He dies after close to 10 minutes, he's still fishing when he wakes up, and I'm seriously baffled at how not more than 54% of the reviews are negative. If you're part of the 46% who left a positive review, I respect it, but we need to talk. Let me know in the comments what happened. Whenever I'm planning these videos, I never really know how long each game will take, so I played Brookhaven for over 2 hours, Brocula for an hour and a half, this last one only 30 minutes, and you will see why. Demetria Spirit is $7.99 Canadian dollars. It is in early access, so usually I would be a bit more lenient, but it released in July 2020, the last update was in October of 2020. So they updated this game for 4 months, and they've been leaving everyone hanging for 4 years. It is a cute game about farming and decorating your home. There are not too many reviews, but all of the English ones are negative. Let's check it out. Here's the main menu. I create a new game and my character. There is a reasonable amount of options for early access. Most of the hairstyles are locked by gender, so you can't have long hair if you're a boy, short hair if you're a girl, which seems like an unnecessary restriction, but overall, things are fine. I come home to a letter from my mom telling me she's going to her hometown for a while and that I have to take care of the farm and cook for the townsfolk. I'm asked if I want to take a tutorial. It's my first time playing, so of course I say yes. Here is the tutorial. I will read it to you. This game, you will farm and harvest for your customers' dishes and they will reward you. Here comes the orders. Orders is in capital letters. You can check the order through your phone, the higher shop level, higher energy cap level. Let's prepare your farming tools! 3 exclamation marks. Alright, so it seems like I'll be doing farming, preparing dishes, and then delivering orders. I equip my hoe, till the soil, then I try to plant some seeds, but it's not working because using the hoe opens a little hoeing menu, and I have to close that first. I close it, plant my seeds, struggle to water them, you have to be very precise, and I decide to have a look around while I'm waiting for my veggies to grow. Right next to my house is a shop area. Everybody's doing business right in my yard, a bit invasive but also useful. So there's a post office, shops for hairstyles and clothes, one for seeds and one for tools. I buy some cacao and orange saplings, I plant them, and I'm not sure what to do next. I'm getting orders for donuts and things like that, but I have no ingredients to make anything. I take a bath because I have to manage not only my hunger and my energy, but also my hygiene. I go to bed after my bath, it quickly regenerates my energy, but it does not make time go by any faster. You just stay in your bed and wait, reflect about your life choices. If you want to know what insomnia feels like, then I strongly recommend you play this game. I am bored, I get out of bed, and I receive an order for an orange juice, so maybe I can try making that. I look at my stove, the recipe asks for 2 oranges, 2 waters, and 2 ice cubes, I think. The ice cubes look like little blue cakes on a plate to me, but I'm probably just getting tired. Not unlike Brocula, the recipes seem a bit too demanding for a video game. There's no reason to dilute a good orange juice and have no clue where to find water and ice. I check the shop area again to see if I can buy ingredients, but all of them are closed. It's nighttime, I can't even sleep. The only thing I can do is walk right through all of the stalls like a ghost. This game is a nightmare. I really have no idea what to do, but then I receive an order for bread. Of course, I don't know how to make bread, but I already have some in my inventory. Yes, that is what I am talking about. Let's deliver it. I look at my phone, I see an option to cancel the order, but no way to deliver. Maybe I need to find the customer, so I discover a forest area, and by area I mean just a little square. There's no world or town to explore in Demetria Spirit. Here, I can forage cherries and meet a few merchants. No customers, unfortunately, but I buy some oranges in hopes that one day I can make juice. You know what? Maybe I need to wait for the post office to reopen for me to deliver my food. I'm searching through the tutorials on my phone and it tells me I can deliver food at the post office. I just need to wrap it up first and then press send. At 6 a.m., the post office opens, the worker appears, and you know how usually most post offices will sell boxes and materials to wrap your packages? Well, things are a bit different here. You first need to provide them with wood and then they will make paper for you, and you can then turn that paper into a gift box. I'm noticing this trend recently where every game wants to include crafting so bad, but this is taking things too far. I go chop some wood, give it to the postal worker for her to make paper and a gift box, and so now I have a gift box in my inventory, and then I don't know what to do with it. I try interacting with the box, I click on it, click on the food. It seems like something that should be so simple, but I can't figure it out. In the meantime, orders keep piling up in my phone, all for food I have no idea how to make. Despite reading the tutorials over and over again, maybe I lost some brain cells with all of these games, but I can't manage to do a single thing right in Demetria Spirit, so I quit. And so these were 3 of the worst rated farming simulation games on Steam that I had the chance or misfortune to play. If you want to see more, I made a playlist for all of these bad games, so enjoy. And let me know in the comments any bad farming game you would like me to cover. And I'm thinking of doing a video about Switch games, so they don't necessarily have to be on Steam. I'm gonna do a little ranking of what I played today. Brookhaven Grimoire was the best. It had somewhat of an interesting story. I like the idea of transforming into a bat and using magic, but I couldn't make it that far just because of how clunky everything was. In second place, I would put Demetria Spirit. The game looks cute, but the mechanics are confusing, there's very little content, and it's barely playable. It is clearly abandoned, but if it wasn't, it could have been not too bad. And the worst game has to be Brocula. It's way too expensive for what it is, it's not in early access, it's a full release, and most of the mechanics are either completely broken, pointless, or simply not enjoyable. If you want a good vampire farming sim, I recommend waiting for Moonlight Peaks. I really enjoyed the demo and I feel like it managed to play with the vampire theme so much better. I wanted to end this video on a good note, but that's it for today. Let me know if you've played the games I talked about. Leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.